everyone's ready, we're going to call the regular council meeting of May 21st, 2012 to order at 7:02 p.m. Everyone please rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call roll, please. Sturrett?
Here.
Clark?
Here.
Conan?
Here.
Woollett?
Here.
Baylor?
Here.
Cooper? Here. Audie?
Here.
Okay, in front of everyone is the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, in the administrative reports, can I delete something at this time? I need to delete F&B report because it was a short week. They didn't give it to us. It would be normally coming in next Monday.
Okay.
Just to make it so I would also request that it get put on the next agenda
Okay.
under administrative reports.
Okay. Any other additions, deletions, or is there a motion?
I would like to add street commissioner report under ongoing.
Old or new?
You could do it under liaison if you don't. Do you need a motion?
No, I don't need any more.
Then you can do it under liaison.
Thank you.
Any other additions, deletions, or is there a motion?
So moved. As amended.
Okay, motion by Mr. Audie. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Ballard. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any citizen comment on non-agenda items? Any citizen comments? Hearing none. We don't have any presentations tonight. Administrative reports. Everyone has the treasurer's report, and are there any liaison reports at this time? Mr. Ballard.
Thank you. Yes, I met with Andy and Scott today. Just an update. The work in Spencer Street, the bidding started last Tuesday. We have 10 contractors that will pick up plans as of today. We have the application was sent to MDOT for the Prospect Street Bridge. Funding for design and administration for the Teach Street culvert is being further investigated. I set the week of June 4th through June 8th to have Giffords Webster contact their man about the concrete lifting, the downtown sidewalk. We have a gentleman come in that does.
It's similar to mud jacking, but
Right.
it's just lifting a cap.
Right. They use some type of a resin or something like that.
And that was the week of what? I'm sorry.
June 4th to the 8th. We're not. They're going to get a hold of the contractor himself, the man that does this. He can come down and give us a little demonstration or talk to us or whatever he has to do, and we're going to go from there. And funding options for this project are currently being investigated. Pothole repair, I've talked with Ed, the engineer wants to meet with myself and to talk about, and Ed, the DPW director, to talk about pothole repair and vendor options. And so that's what's coming up there. I also met down in the corner, that's a resident down in the corner of Morrison and Floral Street, and there's a problem in there, the way that it was left uneven, and she's holding water back on her property. The road is throwing the water, draining the water back to the property. I asked Andy to give me an idea what it would cost us, the best possible way to repair this. We're looking anywhere between $12,000 and $15,000 to repair that area that was left unfinished. I've been told that possibly Southeastern Michigan Gas Company is doing some work down there. I have to get a hold of them to see if maybe they can correct it.
What was the damage due to?
Basically, it was due to the street construction, and Southeastern Michigan Gas had been doing some excavating down there at the same time. So I did not witness it. I can only see what I see there. But my problem is, and our problem is as a council, is that we have a resident that is taking water from the street and is flooding out to her front yard.
Is that on Floral?
It's on Floral Street and Morrison Street right there.
Isn't Morrison the next street over?
The perpendicular.
It's Holloway.
I'm sorry, Hollywood Street. I'm sorry.
That's why I'm not getting what you're talking
You
about.
know, I'm only lifted off my life.
That's still a new subdivision.
Yeah, yeah, really.
So where is it? I'm sorry.
The corner there?
Yeah, it's the corner. It's the
Southwest.
southwest corner of Holloway and Floral.
Oh, Holloway.
Holloway, oh, I'm sorry. And, yeah, John Townsend's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've looked it over, and the best option, according to Griffith Webster, is to put what they call like a mini drain, mini catch basin in there, and take a tile or take a line and run it all the way down to Church Street and dump it in the catch basin. That's going to take care of the water. It's going to take it out of there, and that's going to give us a 8-inch under drain, 8-inch drain that will take that off. And it's going to give us a 12-inch, what they call a nioplast, or a plastic 12-inch, like a small catch basin right there.
Are there any sewer or water main areas over there we need to
You're
worry
not
about?
going to be going that deep.
Okay,
There is one water main.
okay.
As you heard, that would have to be considered, but
Why is that a problem now? It's never been a problem in the past.
Well,
I know.
From what I can see, Dave, is that when the paving of that area was done under the last street paving project we had down there, what happened is the street actually got raised up, okay, to meet Floral and the rest of it in there, where it's supposed to be, okay, with the new subdivision in there. So what that did is that dropped the side, and there not being a ditch there and no shoulder, it's just rolling right off and right into the residence yard. And so I told her I'd look into it and do the best we could for her, and see what options we had. And this is one of the options. Other options just didn't make sense, because all you're going to do is transport water either further onto her yard or shove it down to the next guy's yard. And we don't want to do that. We want to correct the problem out there. So we're going to be looking at this budgetarily and see what we can do.
Scott, you have something to add to that?
yeah, some of that, looks like some of that area too, it was a problem even before the road project.
Right.
And you'd have to go almost pretty far down Floral to even take out even more driveways and re-ditch that whole area just to even get to work. Plus, it looked like some of that soil settled out over time, after the road project, at least that's from what I noticed when I was out there.
Yeah, because I thought we had at least a swale along there to
There
kind
was.
of control some of it.
And the grade it was pretty difficult to work with the grade that was there to begin with, like I said, without taking everything right down Floral Street. Yeah, the one option that I think that would work the best would be to somehow just put some kind of a storm structure in there and route it back to over there at Church.
But didn't we do that on the north side of that road? You put in a couple little, as a test?
Yeah, what the ditches, those ditches were already open. So what happened is, I believe that the DPW went in and put in, I think it was 8-inch tile, and then just buried it with pea stone and sand. Here you'd have to pretty much open those trenches up a little bit to get, at least to get enough to get a perforated edge drain or perforated pipe in there, and then just run that down all the way to the corner there on Church and Holloway.
That cost $13,000?
Well, that's a lot of digger in there. How many feet did we figure that was?
Well, it doesn't matter, you have a
Yeah.
quote there for it, so.
I will quote you. Whoever got together with you.
With regard to the mud jacking, we're gonna discuss that a little bit more under CDBG,
Okay.
because there's some different things we need to talk about with that, so we're gonna hold that part off till another agenda item.
Okay. That was, that's my report.
Okay? Any other liaison reports at this time?
I wanted just to bring you guys up to date. I did meet with Scott and Joe Lombardo of Lombardo and Associates. We toured the sewer plant today because it's all part of this S2 grant proposal. So I think they went well. They got a general understanding of our facility. Just to let you know that that happened also today.
I got a quick one with a problem in the park. Jimmy Sharp brought it to my attention, and I think he talked to you about it, Michelle, too, picnic table. I forget who he talked to. What the kids are doing now are stacking the picnic tables up on top of one another, 4 or 5 high, and then climbing on the roof of the pavilion and jumping off of it with their bicycles. So we've got an issue now with that in terms of liability, and I want to know what council would like to do. We have basically two options, or three. We can get rid of some picnic tables, that way they can't stack them high enough. We can chain them all together, or we can bolt them down.
He has another problem that you're probably not even aware of.
What?
Somebody yanked the light fixture out of the center of it.
Oh, no, I knew about that.
Oh, okay, Ed put it back up today.
Yeah.
It would seem if they're stacking the tables that we should be able to catch something like that.
I would like to see the DPW at least twice a week round up the picnic tables and put them back under the pavilion before they leave for the day. Do that a couple times a week.
Well, what I did discuss with Ed, because we're looking at buying some anchors to put the bike rack into the downtown. Maybe we anchor in the picnic tables during the summer, and then after summer we unanchor them and put them back underneath the pavilion for the winter time storage. It would stop them being moved, and we wouldn't have to get rid of them either.
I don't want to get rid of them.
No.
Just
I
because
don't.
somebody's abusing things, I think they should be taken care of.
But I
Yep.
think if we anchor them down, that would alleviate a lot of it, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't put a whole lot more.
It's just a pain if they're anchored, they got, if it's in the lawn, they got cut
Yeah,
around
they gotta
them
cut
and
around
all that. I would like to just try and work on some enforcement the next couple of weeks and maybe,
If the residents see anything
I mean,
happen.
I've stopped a number of times and I saw the kids sliding their bikes along the edges. And then it just happened after I talked to him, Jimmy was coming around the corner, I said, you might want to have another word, maybe mine didn't sink in, so he talked to him.
Well, maybe
It still goes on.
I thought about chaining them all together. I mean, when we have the concerts which are coming up, people like to move them around, you know, to accommodate the band. So anchoring them down might not work out well for that. But
Well, I'm not saying anchor them underneath the gazebo, anchor them around on the grounds, but then there's the lawn cutting issue.
But anchoring them all together, with somebody on a Saturday wants to have a family picnic, then
Right.
tables are all, you kind of minimize the use of the park.
Also, if you talk to the boys, or I shouldn't say boys, I don't know that, but if you talk to the kids in the park, I have heard some of the parents say, well, I made a place fix on our kids. So,
Jimmy does get a bad rap for that, because he's always the one on call when they're out of school.
Yeah, because he's on that time
No.
frame.
Right.
But apparently they were like 4 or 5 high, and they were riding bikes and skateboards right off the roof. And I mean, that's 10, 12 feet. That's
Marv, would you mind asking,
a trip to the ER.
talking to Chief about how he wants to go about?
Okay.
I just want to know what people want to do. I mean, none of the solutions are as convenient as not doing anything, but
Well, Michael, I think he's had a nice, probably the most
yeah.
objectionable, or the most optional resolution is our eyes can't be on that park 24 hours a day. The police, we have one officer on duty, can't be on that park 24 hours a day. But if the residents see things, just a quick call.
You know, there's
You can have an officer there.
you could ban bikes from the park. They don't need to be in there.
Then you still gotta have somebody observing and.
I know, but I'm just saying that
Sure,
if that's happening, to sit and enjoy the park, to play in the playgrounds, you don't have to have a bike.
No.
We all know that the kids have,
Right, no
they
bike
use the
beyond the
cement
parking
area,
spot.
and I don't have
Park.
a problem with it.
Yeah,
But if it's gonna be misused,
right, no
then
bikes
you
beyond
could
the parking
always,
lot.
I hate to do that, but it's just
Then
one
you got other people
alternative.
riding their bikes up to the concerts too.
Well, just don't bring them
myself.
beyond the parking lot.
Steve does.
Yeah.
You all- you
Easier
always
said
do.
than done.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we also have informed the public now, and they can talk to their kids about it. The parents can and enforce the rules at the homestead. I mean, some of the responsibility has to lay with the adults too, watching over these kids. So, I mean, they should know what their children are
Then
doing.
you have the bikes parked in the parking area.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like it, Steve.
Well, we're taking the bike rack out, actually. That might not be the best option, because we're moving the bike rack to the,
I've never seen a bike rack used except
yeah,
during a concert.
Yeah.
yeah.
The kids,
Right, drop them on the
the
ground.
bike is with them.
Or with them, right.
Well, they set up little jumps and that, and I don't have a problem with that.
Jumping off
But
the
if
roof
they're
is
gonna start
extreme.
jumping off the roof, I don't wanna see someone hurt either.
Right.
Is there any known
Alright.
times approximately at,
I'm sorry, Marv?
is there any approximate times that this is happening
I think Jimmy caught him around 4:30, 5 o'clock
in the afternoon?
in the afternoon.
Wow, broad daylight.
Well, Harry, if you want to get with
Yeah, I'll
Marv
talk
in
to
the police
Marv.
department and see, and then you want to talk to Ed Sartowski, maybe he has a different option that he
Okay.
knows about, and he might have have something else
Yeah.
for you.
Even if you anchor or chain or something, the ones that are under the pavilion and the ones that are in the grass, leave them as is. But then you'd only be able to stack one or two. I don't recall how many there are exactly, but
I think we have 5 now.
5. But if you leave, say, 4 under, I mean, I don't like it either, but I'm just trying to.
I mean, I guess a bigger problem is all the vandalism we have in the park. And
Yeah, I mean,
here's
using
it's
the
been
light
done
down
by.
today is ridiculous. I mean, this all costs money.
Well, the picnic tables, every time I go up there, there's more carvings and more magic markers.
I mean, we put those brand new picnic tables out, and within a week they were all carved up with bad words and swastikas, so. That's what they carve in them, I don't know.
Well, if you can talk to Ed, Murph, you'll talk to the chief and let Harry know too. If anyone else has any ideas, just give Harry a call and we'll try to nip this one. Are there any other liaison reports? Hearing none, we have our consent agenda in front of us. It's payment of bills, the 4-H Club 5K run, and the part-time clerical rate increase.
I'd like to pull item C.
Okay, we'll make that 3G under new business. Any other additions, deletions, or is there a motion at this time?
I just want to make you need to pull up the consent agenda approval sheet, the minutes, because they're not here this week.
Yes.
But it's on this,
Yes,
and this
I
is
know.
what we're approving.
Okay. And their actual sheet.
So A, B, and C are just moved down. I'm sorry, Harry, did you?
There was no.
Steve?
No,
Okay.
I
All
didn't.
right, I'm sorry.
Is there a motion or is there another deletion to move at this time?
Madam President, I'll move that the consent agenda be approved as amended.
Motion by Mr. Ballard. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Clark. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. We have no old business tonight. New business. Special event policy. Are there any public comments? Mr. O'Leary?
I'm Ryan O'Leary from the ARMADA Alliance, and I was asked to come tonight and tell you guys that we do not agree with the hold harmless agreement and with the general consensus of our membership that if the policies change, that we will be looking elsewhere to take our events.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Okay, hearing none. I have done a little bit of research on this. I spoke briefly to Mr. O'Leary before the meeting, and I've also given a copy to another gentleman there in their club. He's going to take it back to their membership. First off, the Lions Club International has a liability insurance program that does cover all these events. There is no cost to them to add an additional insured. It just takes 2 business days for them to get the certificate. It also talks about hold harmless agreements as well, that they can enter into them. They're just to watch for unfair or ambiguous wording, which ours is a 1.5 pages double spaced. There is nothing unfair or ambiguous in it. And if it's concerning leases, which is not what we are talking about. The Lions Club is covered for any type of Lions events that they have on almost any property as well. So I just want to let everyone know that. I did give a copy of this, like I said, to the Lions Club. They're going to take it to their membership and show them. I also did talk to Richmond and Romeo. There was some discussion that they co-sponsor events to alleviate these agreements. Richmond, they do not co-sponsor any events. They also require their special event policy and hold harmless agreements. The Romeo Lions do sign those for their events that they do use public property on, and they do get an additional insured for all their events as well. And this was from John Moore, the city manager over in Richmond. In Romeo, I talked to Mary McLaughlin, the clerk. They do not co-sponsor any events as well for their Lions clubs, and they are to sign their special agreement policy. In there, I do believe there's a little hold harmless part that's actually in their policy, so they don't have a whole separate agreement. It's actually in their policy. So I wanted to let you guys know that. I did tell Mr. O'Leary that he'll take that back to his membership as well. So what we have here is nothing more than what anyone else has been doing. Again, it just gives us a better ability to make sure that we follow the same practice for everyone. Also, I wanted to discuss real quick about a comment that was made at the last meeting. that it may cost money to add someone as an additional insured on their insurance policy. I did talk to someone who I know is a licensed insurance agent who's been so for over 15 years. When you get commercial insurance, to add an additional insured is in insurance terms called a throw-in, and they generally are not paid for. She's been doing it for over 15 years, and in that 15 years, she has never charged anyone for that. It's considered a throw into their policy for the about liability portion. So I wanted to let everyone know that as well. And for the public as well, if they have that type of insurance, it's considered a throw-in, that's the word that they use in the insurance lingo. So, just so everyone knows that, we're all on the same page. There is no cost still for our special event policy. I don't see us ever going to that, at least that's my vote. I am only one vote. But again, like I said, this is just for us to be able to protect the village residents, their monetary interests, their financial interests, and make sure that when these events go off, that we work together with the company, with whoever it is doing it, so we can make sure everyone's interests are covered.
Madam President, do you know
Yes.
why the representatives from the Lions last week said that, you know, their attorney said it was not right, or whatever it was, however it was worded?
I have no idea. I just found out from Romeo. I did find out from Romeo a couple days ago. I did get into contact with Richmond today to find out. So I'm not quite sure where that information is coming from, but they've been doing it with them. I know Romeo, how long has Marion had theirs there? It's been over a year.
Yeah, it's been.
And Richmond's been even longer than that they've been requiring it. And they said they make everyone do it, their Chamber of Commerce, because they have those ice sculptures out front. They have to have a hold harmless agreement, all that stuff, because the ice melts and refreezes, and then they have their trolley rides and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's something that everyone has to do when they have their events in Romeo and Richmond. Also in Romeo, some of their roads are not owned by them. So Macomb County, they have to get in touch with Macomb County and fill out all this stuff for them too. So it's not just us, it's Macomb County, Richmond, and Romeo, and all the surrounding areas.
Also, Madam President, in this packet, I think there was one from the Macomb County also for the 4-H.
That's their insurance for the 4-H.
I know it's
Yes.
separate, but I mean, they're
Correct.
also asking for the same thing, so I don't think we're going, you know, far off the path of what most people are doing or what they're trying to get to.
No.
Well, we do know that from the past 5K run we had, that the county requires the same
Right.
3 things, you know.
Well, with all this going on, I just hope that maybe we can compile some paperwork to maybe help out some of the other nonprofits that maybe are running into a problem themselves, and we can kind of steer them through some things. Maybe they're not going down the right avenues and it's costing more money than what they
Right.
should have to be paid.
Well,
I'd like to
just-
see all these nonprofits be able to do things and make money and
Well, I
Yes.
just worked with the Alero, or 4-H, that put theirs in because they were running into an issue with the insurance,
Mhm.
because MSU Extension, which is who they have, didn't want to do that, but I sent them with blocking out the names of the nonprofit stuff. I sent them a copy just so they could see how it was worded and that it wasn't an issue. They did it that
well, there
day.
might be a lot of that.
Yeah.
Until
Well,
we
I think it's
kinda
just
run through this.
They
misunderstanding.
just didn't know what it looked
Some
like.
people are
Right.
running into some problems,
Yeah.
and maybe it's costing them more money than it has to.
Right.
And I know Michelle was on the phone with them a lot when I was in the office. I heard her on the phone a lot. She was stepping them through the process. So, I mean, there are groups that aren't familiar with it. There are other groups that have been doing it in other communities, and they just now need to do it here. So,
Well, not only that, but if you look at the certificate of liability insurance for the 4-H, you see who the insured is, Michigan State University.
Correct.
So these people have been doing this, when I was in 4-H, when I was a 4-H leader, we always had this. So basically, I think that we are being prudent, this is good business to do this, and therefore, I would like to make a motion that we approve the special event policy form. Oh, we did that?
yeah, we already did
So
that.
we don't have to worry about it?
No, this is just an
You already
update.
know that. No, but we never did this to try to keep
Any of those out.
nonprofits from doing things.
No.
Our clubs is what makes our village a lot better place to live. So we just gotta work with them to show, like it sounds like you've done some checking with the Lions. Hopefully this will be good.
Well, and as we stated last time too, if you guys know your dates for the year, put it all on one.
That's already been-
Send
Yeah.
it in and.
As far as I know, that's already been
I
Yeah.
done.
think Darren was already working on
And that's, you know, I mean, and we could put it through on one, that way you don't have to do it every single time.
And I also mentioned that we did say it was on a first come, first served basis, just so you know that our first meeting is the second Monday of January. So that would be that the event time that we would be compiling all of them that we get in from January 1st to get on our calendar. If there is a date that is in discrepancy with another one, that would be a good time for the groups to come and talk about it, and, you know, then we as council can, you know, because I know you guys were worried about someone coming in and taking one of your dates. You could come to the meeting in January 15th and say, hey, we've had this every week, this is National White Cane Week, we need it that week. And I'm sure we as council will be okay with that, and there is usually not two things going on at the same time. I'm sure the other group would be fine moving it. I mean, giving January, it is quite a long time before they have to actually schedule anything.
Well, a lot of the nonprofits don't have set dates, like the Lions do, or the AMVETS, you know, or the BFW. They don't have annual things that are only for those weekends or those certain dates. So I don't foresee a problem. I mean, I'll say that cautiously. But I'm glad to work with you guys on anything you want. I mean, I'll help you with your application. We'll, you know, get you set. So.
All right. Any other questions?
One question I have, and as I read the policy, I thought of ARMADA Fair. Okay? And I wasn't at the meeting, so if I'm going to rehash something, tell me. But we do address if events on private property are not included in this. Is that correct?
We haven't specified.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't want someone having a birthday party at their house to have to fill out with the form.
But if it's going to be done on public property, in other words, and I look at this like a parade.
Mm-hmm.
The fair was going to have a parade. They would have to fill out one of these to give us some, you know, some forewarning, right?
And they would need the hold harmless and the
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. That's what I wanted to make.
Yes. The only thing with the fair, just they do have 17,000 people come in. They do utilize our local roads. As everyone knows, those people do spill over into our residential areas. Also, we do require extra services from our police and DPW to get ready for that event. We also work all our construction events around it. I would like a little more forewarning if they're going to add dates or delete dates. There has not been very good communication with our council before, and I really strongly encourage that to start happening at this point forward, because we do have road construction projects. We're going to have another huge one next year. We really need to start having communication. Like I just found on June 2nd, they're having another thing over at the fairgrounds I didn't even know anything about. I mean, what if we had it closed down for construction? I mean, there's no communication with this board on the events that they have. That's my only worry, is that we're going to be closing down a road and they're going to be screaming at us because we didn't know about it, but they didn't communicate it to us.
If they don't feel they have to communicate it to you, then
one thing about
that's
the
too
fair
bad,
board
though.
is they are very resilient, and they've got many different avenues to get into that fairgrounds.
Right, but it was down our residential streets to get around the.
They pick me right in the back.
Yeah, right through the school, or right next to the new elementary.
So I mean, that's one group I don't worry about.
Mm-hmm.
I do not worry about the fair board, because if we've got something blocked off for construction, sure, it's going to put a crimp in their style, but they'll adapt to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat on that board for 12 years, and we just got anything to throw it our way at that week. So.
Well, as I'm stating, I would appreciate a little more communication with our board for the events that they are having there. They may be communicating it with police chief, but that's not communicating it to our board.
Right.
So, I mean, I would like a little bit more communication if we could, to make sure that we don't have any issues. I don't want any.
You know, with that being said, it'd be nice for them to have almost like a liaison to come here and put it on the TV, so people in the community can see when they're having events, you know? I mean, if there's something good going on June 2nd, there might be a lot of people sitting around the house saying, what am I going to do today? And it would be nice to know. I mean,
right.
they could benefit from coming and just giving a small presentation every so often.
Right. Okay. Any other comments?
I did have, and I don't think that I think I have the answer, but I just want to make sure because I was asked it specifically. St. Mary's Church is planning on a garage sale, yard sale on their property, using their parking lot. I just want to make sure that, I mean, we're not talking about, okay, and I thought that, but I don't want to do it without clarification. Again, this, you know, we know this policy is going to hit hiccups, so.
Is
we're
the
just-
parking lot part of the village now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know, we brought it to
Yeah.
church in, I think.
Yeah, we brought the whole property.
It's
Right
right
around the whole property,
We
yeah.
brought the whole property.
Yeah, but, okay, I just wanted to, just because I was at that specifically, I want to be able to call the lady back and tell her that.
Any other questions or comments? All right, moving on. Next agenda item, flood lighting installation in municipal parking lot. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, I do believe, Mr. Ballard, this is your agenda item?
I turned in for the last meeting that I was asking from, three quotes. I did not get anything on labor. The reason I did not get anything on labor is because you can just hire a local electrician for his services to come in and exchange the light. I felt as though the most expensive thing on this would be purchasing the light through the electrical contractor in Canada. That's why I didn't put anything on there. So I got the three, I believe. I had one from Kitchen Master, lighting electrical supply. I had one from Marshall E. Campbell Company, and I can't remember the last one. KE Electric. Great, WW Granger, right. Those are the three lighting places that I knew had the best prices.
Well, we awarded to,
To Kitchen Master?
yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I would not have pronounced it that way, but
Yeah,
okay.
okay. So what I can do is I can tell them to go ahead and just give you a PO number. You can just order from him, I'll give you his phone number after the meeting. But what you get here, I just call a local electrician and just say, come on down, put it in, make sure he's a contractor, he has a license, etc.
Well, do we want to get quotes for that?
You know, I don't think we need to, because I know it's going to be less, should be less than $500. If it isn't, I'm not charging that. But you know, I don't think that we really need to get a quote for it. I really don't. I just have to.
I think we should check the minutes. You volunteered to put in for free.
No, don't tell me that, Aaron.
Alright.
I'll put words in my mouth.
Michelle's got it in the minutes that she was going to check on that to see, Mr. Ballard, to see who said that.
Sure, put it in there, check it.
Okay. All right, so you want to update us on the next meeting then about installation costs?
Sure, if you want me to call a couple guys again.
That'd be great.
Sherry, can we just do this and get it over with?
Why don't you put a cost not to exceed, and if you
Well,
get it
that's fine.
cheaper than,
Yeah.
There you go,
fine.
then
okay.
please be done.
Okay.
Just take out the buy.
It shouldn't be even $300, should it?
What if you said $300?
Yeah, I was gonna say, geez. Okay, result to approve the installation of lighting in the village municipal parking lot for a cost not to exceed $350.
Okay, motion by Mr. Ballard, is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Wolak. This is money, so we have to roll call it.
Ballard,
Yes.
Wolak,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Yes.
Sturritt,
Yes.
Audie.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next agenda item, trailhead update. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Okay, hearing none. This is just a real quick update. I did contact John Crum. It was a quick conversation because he had to hang up with me and then I was on another call and he called back. But I wanted to let everyone know that they did say that they were going to need a construction review person at a couple different areas in the installation. And they did inform me that the county road department will provide an engineer and oversight at no cost to the village. So I'll keep you guys updated when I have more conversations, and hopefully we'll have more time to actually talk the next time I get on the phone. Any other questions on that one? Okay, hearing none, moving on to the next agenda item, CDBG distribution. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, this is the village clerk's agenda item.
Okay. This last week has been a little crazy. I think we thought we had everything taken care of at the last meeting. Obviously not. At the last meeting, we had Carrie Fortune here, everybody remembers, from the county. I was under the impression that we had some time before filling out applications for the projects that council had distributed money to, which was the downtown sidewalks, the property acquisition, and the Teat Street culvert. I got a call Tuesday morning from the county and was told, we have to have those applications today. We are meeting, we've got to have them, which threw the office kind of into a panic. I had Scott prepare the Teat Street culvert one because I am not a road engineer and I do not pretend to be. I do not know a thing about what we have to do engineering-wise or to create that culvert. We walked through the property acquisition. I walked through it with the county. They told me what to include so we could make sure that all of our bases are covered. And the downtown sidewalk one had already been prepared by Giffords. So we got those in and we thought we were set. Well, shoot to today. Joe and I had and Michael Stewart was in the office, so we pulled him in on this three-way conversation with Mike Rosny and Kerry Fortune at the county. It seems like daily things change. We thought originally that the property acquisition was a good fit for CDBG. We had been told that by the county. About midway through, it was kind of, you know, they were kind of scared about it. The last I heard, it was dicey. So we're not, I don't want to vent my frustration, but it's been a really frustrating ride for us. After the discussion today with the county, and Joe and Michael, please jump in on this because it just was one of those days, and I'm not sure I'm going to remember everything that was said. Joe's got some good notes. Today, what needs to happen at tonight's meeting is we need to decide as a council, do we want to continue with the Teat Street culvert? We're going to start with that one, with the Teat Street culvert project. We have Giffords who submitted a bridge application for a grant, which is a 95.5 grant. That's probably better than what we could pay for with CDBG. None of these projects, except with the exception of the downtown sidewalks, can be fully covered by the amount of money that we put towards them, okay? The Teat Street culvert was $160.
The hard cost is about 160.
So 160, we have $43,000. Where's the rest of the money going to come from? The property acquisition, we put 43 and some odd. I mean, it's 43,070.91. We put towards the property acquisition. We know that that isn't going to be that. We know that that's going to be approximately $200,000. We don't know at this point. I haven't been told differently that the township is even willing to go in on this purchase with us. Unfortunately, we don't have weeks to wait. We are in critical danger of losing our funding. And the projects that we put forward that we need to move on must be completed by December. So, with that being said, after talking to the county, and now is there anything else you guys want to add about our conversation, Joe and Mike?
Bring Lyle up to speed real quick. We did get another $6,000. We did put it in for the sidewalks.
Good.
We're doing
So
the sidewalks. So
that's
that's $26,000 that we put aside for that.
That's right.
Correct.
So I guess I think the first decision that needs to be made for CDBG's purposes is, are we still considering Teat Street culvert?
Absolutely not.
Okay, all right, so
Is everyone okay with that as a no?
So
Anyone disagree with that as a no?
No, not if we've got the chance to get in at 95.5.
unfortunately, we will not know until August, and that's where the time crunch comes in, because we don't have till August to wait.
No.
We have to
So,
December to start.
Giffords, it's up to you to get us that grant. So, but we don't have till August to wait on that. So,
Now you have 43,000 that you need to reallocate.
The first-
I have a question.
yes.
Now, we're talking about sidewalks downtown. Is that including the sidewalks that we were originally going to do along Cozy's that we
No,
altered? the
We're
bid
not
package?
there yet.
I'm getting to that.
Okay. All right,
I'm getting there.
all right.
I'm trying to just, I mean, I've had so many conversations with the county, we've gotten letters, it just seems like everything, and I don't know how you guys all took the last meeting, but I walked out of here thinking we had some time and we could, you know, I knew we didn't have a bunch of time. I didn't know we had till the next day at 4 o'clock. So I kind of got blindsided by that.
Didn't she mention something towards the end of June?
She actually mentioned June 2013.
Yeah, that's.
So, but no,
Well,
that was inaccurate.
Yes, so, yeah, and the June date was for the master plan money to be spent. So that I at least had a grasp on. So, all right, so your first step in this project will be, or in this process, will be to make, and I have the motions that I checked with the county. I had them make sure that we have these right, that our numbers are right, and that our project numbers with the county are correct.
So Michelle will read the motions, if someone can make the motion, someone else second it, we can vote on it, we can keep moving.
And we're gonna go on this one. So the first one would be resolved to close out the Teat Street Culvert project and to reprogram $43,070.90 to CDBG project C2010A.
What is that project?
Which is C2010A has now become, rather than just being the downtown sidewalks or the land acquisition, they want to combine those projects onto one application because they all affect the DDA area, which is blighted, and they are, that way it combines them all into one. CBD redevelopment, and I don't know why it's called that. That came from Mike. From the county.
The county made that.
I don't know why he called it that. It's probably short for something that I don't know. But what it will do then is what it combines in, and this is getting back to what Steve said, is the downtown, we're going to call it mud jacking. I know that's not what it is, but the lifting of the sidewalk that has already gone through. It will also now incorporate the sidewalks by Cozy Corner and by the dollar store, those two sidewalks. The sidewalk which was part of what we closed out before.
Right, that we already were approved.
Because, yes, so that should be, those two projects should be no problem with CDBG. The problem that I have with this application, and I'm going to try to talk them into letting us fill out 2 separate applications, is the sidewalk, they're no-brainer. Those should go through with absolutely no problem. The land acquisition, since the word dicey was used by the county, I'm afraid that if we leave that land acquisition on that application, it'll get turned down, and then we won't be able to use it for our sidewalks either. And I want them to allow us to do 1 application for the sidewalks and 1 application for land acquisition. Because I don't, right now, with the money that we're moving around tonight, there's still not enough to do that project because we're still trying to do the downtown sidewalks.
Well, one of the things I think you need to look at that we need to do is Mike Rosny had to submit this to HUD this afternoon.
Our timing is terrible.
So he combined those projects and put them into groups that he thought would be favorable. That's wherein lies the problem that the land acquisition may not really work. And even to make it a little more favorable, we added an option of other land acquisition. We have a lot of Cordy's is available. So if they were to turn down 1 lot, we could possibly go with the other. But we have to approve the applications that the county submitted to HUD for us today.
To match what he did.
Your motion, Michelle?
Well,
go ahead.
Okay, you wanted,
Also
that
moved.
was okay.
Okay, motion by Mr. Ballard, is there a second?
I'll support it.
Support by Mr. Sturrett, we have to do roll on these, don't we?
And again, that was the combined thing.
This
That
will
was just
all
the
sidewalk
It's
and
just-
But right now, this is just getting Teat Street
It's just
off.
closing out
Right.
Teat
That's
Street.
Well, we need to
Okay.
understand
That's
the project
all this
that they
one
have
is.
reallocated
Okay.
to.
Yeah, yes, and reallocating it to that project.
Okay.
That kind of combined DDA improvement.
Okay.
I
Redevelopment,
think that's what.
C.
you know what, C2010A, I'm gonna make a correction or an assumption here. C2010A, those funds will end up being moved into CBD redevelopment. So I think that was kind of just a holding program that he created to remove it into CBD redevelopment. I'm not gonna get that right.
We have 5 motions to make tonight.
Yeah.
So just,
All right,
Bottom line,
so
this is closing out the Teeth Street.
that's
This one is
this
closing out
this
Teeth
motion will close out Teeth Street.
okay.
As much as I hate to do that, because I really think that was a really, really good use of funds, unfortunately, we just don't have the
Don't
time.
have the time, so we're gonna go the other way.
Okay, so Ballard,
Yes.
Sturritt,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Wolock,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Audi.
Yes.
Motion carried. The second motion?
Okay, now the second motion, now this one is to close out the application that was already sent in for the land acquisition, to move it into this
CDBG improvement.
this one, because we're gonna be making a new, it's an amended,
one, okay.
amended application.
Read it.
No, we don't even know.
Everybody
that.
has to understand here, this is really, really important. Okay, so resolve to close out the land acquisition project, because that's what we named it, and to reprogram 43,070.91 to CDBG project C2010A.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Audi. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Ballard. Any other discussion?
Yeah,
Now,
now
this
this, go ahead.
No, this is for the parking lot.
This, yes, this is
Yeah.
for the land acquisition for the parking lot.
I myself, I'd rather see the parking lot go. I'd rather see the bridge. To me, that's 100% more important than this.
Marv, we have till December to spend the money. Neither project is gonna get done by December.
But just as a comment.
Yeah,
Correct.
no,
That is far more important to me
And that, well,
than not having
that
a street.
was my question though. We're putting this land acquisition, we're gonna run out of time on that eventually too.
We have to spend, from what I understand from the conversations today, it's $53,000 that we have to spend by December. We may be able to figure, I believe the sidewalk projects that we're gonna be doing will eat all that money up.
It won't eat it all, but it will eat a good portion of it.
Correct. So that will still buy us time then on the other portion.
And those are things that should be done, say, June, July, August is the latest.
So we need to get
We can-
moving on
We can
those.
move on.
Right. Okay, so there's a motion by Mr. Audi, a second by Mr. Ballard.
Okay, Audi,
Yep.
Ballard,
Yes.
Wolock,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Conan,
Yep.
Sturritt.
Yes.
Motion passes. The third motion?
Okay, now this one, just so you understand, we've moved about $86,000, give or take, 87,000, into the C201, oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Our 37,050 of unprogrammed funds that were from 2012, you know, we took out 950 for the nonprofits. He wants us to move that 37,050, which is left in there, to the CBD redevelopment. So everything is kind of coming into that CBD
It's like a
redevelopment.
whole-
That way we have it, and again, that is for land acquisition and the sidewalks. So this motion then is to program 37,050, so we had unprogrammed funds, of 2012 CDBG funds to CDBG project CBD redevelopment. I think you missed a G in there somewhere.
But it could be
So
just
moved.
community involvement. Motion by Mr. Ballard, is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Clark. Any other discussion?
I have to make a comment again. I still am not in favor of parking lots on that issue. I think it's a grand desire to have the street open and work on that instead of that. I know the time element and everything is considered, but I think I'm going to have to, turn that down.
Well, just so you know too, we do have a 95 to 5%
Well,
grant available that would cost us a lot less money than this would cost
I
us.
love that too.
So I just want to let you know that as well, that would only cost us 5%. If we did it with CDBG, it would cost us over 50%.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
If I may, Madam
Yes.
President, the reason we're doing this, because Gulfos is rolling in that culvert into the bridge, the Prospect Street Bridge. So one is with the other. And that way, even though it is emergency, this is a more fiscally responsible way to go. If it's only going to cost me 5% or rate, you know,
Yeah.
why spend, you know, if I spend $50, would I be spending?
Right, well, that's why I say, I think it's just an important comment.
It is.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
really have to
Really is,
consider,
yes.
and that's my reasoning on it, you know, so, you don't want to always vote no on that kind of stuff next spring to receive them kind of funds. And if we can use them, then it's our blessing.
Sure.
I'd like to add something, and maybe I can help you clear that up too, Trustee Woolley. If we spend the money on the sidewalks, that'll get us closer to what the county wants us to spend. We can carry some funds into next year. By then, we'll know if the culvert has been accepted or not under the grant. At that time, we might have back to the $80,000 figure that we could apply to the culvert. So it doesn't mean, as long as we don't spend it, and you'll have the opportunity if it comes up again about the parking lot, if that gets voted down, if it passes, then of course that wouldn't be able to happen. But if it gets voted down when that comes before us, you know, you'll still have the opportunity to vote the parking lot down.
I see that too, then the fact is not knowing what the other hand's going to support.
Right.
You know.
There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, no, we've
I mean,
got,
that's what leads me to that issue.
we've got a lot of unknowns, and that's been the problem all along. But Michael, I have to correct you on something. I don't know the, I'm sorry. I don't know that CDBG won't qualify if we wait. Because the
Yes, it is
reason
urgent.
that qualifies is because it is of urgent nature, because of the low ratings. So we'll know in August, and we'll know shortly thereafter if HUD even accepts these applications. I mean, they could throw it out and say, no, we don't accept that as a project. And we'll know in August, then we can maybe go forward with it at that time, but we can't wait till next year, because then the urgency is gone.
So then, on that basis, possibly we'd be able to get in within December?
You know what, Marvin, I can't say. Honestly, things,
I mean, I
every
like to look
day it's a
ahead is
new,
what I'm doing. you
new
know.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
Play it safe.
Yeah, I don't know if they could get that culvert done between August and December. I don't know.
Just permit alone, the DEQ would take 3 months.
Yeah. So that, you know, there's so many unknowns right now, and I wish I could come here and, I mean, and I really wish that we would have got a little better guidance last week. I'm really kind of reeling. I don't want to say anything negative, but I'm kind of reeling, so.
All right, is there any other discussion on this agenda item? All right, we ready for a vote?
Ballard,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Sturritt,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Audie,
Yep.
Cooper,
Yes.
Bullock.
Yes.
Motion passes. And then we have motion number 4.
Motion number 4 is to reprogram $21,366.81 from our C2010A, which was that one up there, to CDBG project, CBD redevelopment. So we're taking some money out of that C2010A and putting it into CBD redevelopment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sturritt, second by
Ballard.
Ballard. Any other discussion? Okay, roll.
Sturritt, Ballard,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Audie,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Conan.
Yes.
Motion passes. Last motion.
Last one is to reprogram, oh, now this is, oh, no, we didn't even talk about that, Joe, I'm gonna let you talk about that one.
Well, another option that we thought of when the county was telling us that it was kind of iffy on the land acquisition, rather than lose the money, we thought that maybe we should be quickly looking for another project that may qualify. Being that we were intending to do Spencer and Burke anyway, we thought there could be a possibility to throw the Burke portion of the project onto the CDBG. it would take a minimal income qualification. There's only a couple of homes, the church, in the vacant property on the corner. So that's just an option to consider. It doesn't cost anything.
No, when you said vacant properties, kind of like what?
I heard the owner doesn't have any money.
Well, it
That's
doesn't
good.
cost that much.
That's good.
The only real issue with it is that we've already put out for bids for Burke that were not Davis-Bacon. We would have to reject those bids, or what did you say, amend them?
You can issue an addendum.
Addendum.
Might make it a little interesting with half the project Davis-Bacon and half not. But
Well, we could, I mean, and the amount that the county gave me for that was $51,000. The Burke Street section was 66,
I think it's
somewhere, that's what you said this morning. So,
That's the construction.
yeah. So, I mean, that would make a nice dent into, helping the street department not spend.
But we do have to do an income survey with, now if that income survey comes down, does that blight that area or no?
What?
No,
Okay.
no, the council has to blight an area.
Oh, okay. All right, I want to make sure it doesn't.
Yeah, no.
See that actually, we have the parsonage here and the income there. I don't know, but same with the other, there's a retiree there.
Retiree on the other corner.
One on the corner, that guy is.
Yeah, he's a retiree.
So this is just an option. The urgency to take that $51,000 from the C20108, we can leave it there and it would just go towards the, I
But
shouldn't
you've
say
got to
that.
make it match what he
Yeah,
turned in
yeah, we
today.
have to make it match what Mike turned in.
So he turned it in that we're gonna program that to Burke Street?
Honestly, Lyle, I wish I had a clearer answer. Between talking to Mike Rosny and Carrie Fortune, I don't have the same answer.
Me
Why
personally,
are we
I mean,
voting
we've
on it?
already, for me personally, we've already got it out to bid. I would like to see what those bids come in at first before we go ahead and reprogram it, have to send out an addendum and get things all mixed up. I'd like to see what those numbers come in first.
We get a right to refusal anyhow.
We do.
Sure.
But once we commit these funds, I mean, if Mike Rosny didn't already have it in his plan, I don't know if I would want to do it.
Well, and I was told by Carrie this afternoon that, because I said, now, if council does not feel that that's a viable project, can we leave it there? She told me yes. The conversation we had with Michael and Joe and I and Mike Rosny, he said do this, this, and this. So
Let's-
if it happen, I mean it's up to you. I mean I don't know.
If I may, I'd like to make a recommendation. I would follow Mike Rosny's lead. He's been at this a little bit, because I don't know Carrie, but I know we've worked with Rosny before.
Long time.
Long time.
What does he want us to do with this?
Actually, what he needs you to do is he put in the application to reallocate the funds in the steps that Michelle has outlined for you, to amend the applications so that you include the sidewalk repairs, the sidewalk enhancement, and the combined either-or land acquisitions. That's one application he turned in for us today so that we met the deadline.
Okay.
Right.
So that's one application you guys need to approve. The second application that he put in for was the Burke Street project. Now, is there a third?
No, well, we
Because
thought
he
there was
combined.
3 because this
He
got
combined these
combined,
two.
well, that got combined by Carrie. This is what he said to us.
Right, this is what he
Yeah.
said to us this morning, but
Yeah.
then they combined this into that DDA improvement project.
Yeah.
So there's down to only the 2 applications. That way, by putting the applications in, you've named a project, you've locked those funds.
And if you,
Once that's locked, you minimize the risk of losing
losing
that
the
money.
money.
Okay, that's what we want to do.
Later, you can make some changes and some alterations to it
We just did. so
and
we
reallocate
can't do
to a
it.
different project.
So
But this
now-
way,
Yeah.
the HUD knows, you're telling HUD, we're gonna spend that money, we're gonna spend it on these projects. They say okay, or they say, no, that doesn't qualify. That locks your money in.
We have a little more time
So
at
did
this
he
point.
put in for Burke Street whatever the heck they call that, reconstruction. Did you put that in there as part of this one?
That's a project, that's an application on its own.
He didn't turn that one into HUD today, though. He just turned in that CDB one, correct?
No, I thought he took both applications down.
I don't know, what did
Well,
you?
Well, if you did, I would need to do it.
Yeah.
Well, did he get with
We can
Giffel? I mean, he
reallocate it
couldn't do it on
Let's
his
get on the
own.
safe side, that's what I'm gonna say.
He just named the projects.
Named the projects.
He didn't fill out the whole applications. We'll still have to do that afterwards and be specific with our information. Because after that, he needs the application from us.
But we also have a bid out
And the
right
income
now.
surveys.
So, I mean, do we have them send out an addendum? Do we not have them send? I mean, this is
Until you
creating a
sign
lot of
something,
confusion.
you're okay.
Right, as long as you don't award any contracts, you're all right.
Why don't we do this? Is there a motion there to put put the Birch Street with the project number or whatever we got there?
Yes.
Okay, read the motion.
Well, to reprogram $51,000 from C2010A to CDBG project, Burke Street reconstruction.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Ballard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sturrett. Any other discussion?
Yes. I have one thing that I'm gonna say on here, because I just wanna clear it up. We can program this.
Yep.
Now, let's say these bids come in cheaper than that.
Cheaper than 51,000?
Yeah, but just,
Okay.
okay, we could turn around and, because we'd have to rebid that project to use that money, right? We can go ahead and do the project and reprogram that to something else, can't we?
Yes.
That's all I wanted to
But
do.
we can't, but once we spend it, we can't, if we spend any money, CDBG will not cover it.
I don't care about that.
Okay.
What I'm looking for is to save that money for our future projects.
Right.
But you can't do
No,
that.
but
That's
it's
what
not
the
gonna be
county's
that
telling
long.
us we cannot do. You can't just allocate it and
Right.
sit on it.
We
Because
won't.
this
There'll be
project will
another
be done by
project.
December, correct?
We just want to be covered that if you put the thing
Right.
in,
Right.
We want it
we
covered,
need to
yeah.
follow up that, yeah, we agreed to
Yeah.
that.
It is,
And if we,
it's,
later it doesn't work out, then we can.
it is
Re-
completely unfortunate that we don't meet every day, because it would have been
Maybe it's
easier to
changing
do
every
this.
day.
Yeah,
And this, you know, this phone call today was like, you gotta be kidding. I'm baffled.
that's why I'm doing what we're doing.
Yeah, well, and, I mean, and again, we can, you know, you can put it there and decide, I don't know, unfortunately, we've got 3 weeks between this meeting and our next.
No.
Oh, we have-
You've got
we have
special
special
meetings.
meetings.
But then another thing is I really would be doubtful that it would come in that much lower, because if you rebid it, now you're rebidding it at Davis Bacon.
Exactly,
Which are
that's
gonna
gonna
be
come in higher, so you're not gonna have that money there.
Well, and you gotta understand too, there's a bunch of, there are a bunch of variables to this also. We've got income surveys, you know, we've got,
It's not something
Yeah.
that we can
I
just
mean,
put out for
you
bid
know,
right now.
I mean, income surveys are be a variable too, because if they don't come in as
Right.
where they need to be, then, you know,
That's
call.
right, so what we've done, we safeguard. I'm sorry.
If-
Are we ready?
Did he say it has to be bid out as Davis Bacon? What if the selected low bidder could just follow the Davis Bacon?
That, I would have to have clarification on that from him, because we did ask him that today, and his suggestion was to reject the bids and re-bid it.
Because you have to tell them that you did.
Well, you just reject the first.
Well, and maybe there's a way around it, maybe that's a question
So
that,
bid as an
maybe,
alternate,
maybe I
but-
could connect the two of you to discuss that, because that way it's not, there's no.
Part of me
third
thinks
party.
it would have to be bid with that
Davis
language
Bacon in there.
in the
To
actual
make it the
advertising.
same for everyone.
No, the bids are coming in when, May 31st?
20.
You're right, it's the 29th.
We hope the award would be on
The award is
31st.
Okay. Well, and our next meeting isn't until the 11th, so I don't know, I wish I had better information.
Does everyone feel comfortable enough to make the vote?
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready?
Ballard,
Yes.
Sturrett,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Audie,
Yep.
Cooper,
Yes.
Wolock.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, next agenda item, cooling system for air compressor and sewer treatment plant. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Sewer Commissioner Stewart, this is your agenda item.
This is mine. We tried to save the water bill with those refit pumps. It appears that our air compressor is also using water. You find these things out, the water bill did drop down about half when we switched those pumps. And as you can see, this quote is from Chuck here, Bailey, the plant operator. If we switch this, it should be down to just a normal household consumption. I had him go through that plant a couple of times and double check, is there any other water usage anywhere else in there? He doesn't believe there is. So there's a little cost here. You do have 2 bids. 2 quotes, I'm sorry, not bids, quotes, proposals. The cheaper one being $3,279. If we can cut our current water bill at the plant was $2,900. We'd be at about a half a year payback. We should be saving money.
Great.
We had talked about a whole new compressor, but with the contractors coming out, they believe they put this thing on a wall and it'll be a self-contained coolant fan type system. If any of you guys can read drawings, go right ahead. I'm not an expert. Ed had mentioned we could maybe put a water thing up in the ceiling. They're just options. We were trying to brainstorm different options. This is the best option I think we have. So I'd like to make a make a motion to approve the quote from Lee Industrial Contracting in the amount of $3,279 to convert the cooling system on plant air compressor.
Motion by Mr. Stewart, is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Clark. I have a couple quick things, Mike.
Go for it.
The quotes are made out to F&V operations for Brian Lee. Will that change to us so we don't have to pay tax on it?
We're not paying tax on it, I don't believe anyway, but yes, I did talk to Joe about it before.
Okay.
Normally this would come under the maintenance agreement. They try to put those things in, but because we're at the end of the year, the maintenance cap is already getting close, so they couldn't slide all these items in, or these next 2 items in. So we're kind of buying our items on our own, I guess is what I'm saying. So that should be changed to us. I don't think Lee would change their pricing. And I surely don't want F&B bumping up the price on something.
Right.
Nonetheless, the sales tax issue.
Okay. And then, I'm sorry, the last one is this covered under the equipment thing, or is this is just coming out of your fund?
That'll have to come from, Joe will have to tell me if it comes from the equipment replacement fund, but I budgeted $39,000 in expenditures.
Okay.
Yes, this was listed on here. The
Oh,
air
okay.
compressor was
All right.
listed, and there were some other items that were pretty much on that United Water report, that internal
That
document.
can come out of your replacement fund.
It can. If Joe will allow me to take it out of the equipment replacement fund, then I definitely would like it to come out of there, because we gotta use that, that's what it's there for.
And then lastly, was this anything on the DEQ report or no?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if that could
Oh,
be kind of bundled
see?
in, that
Yeah.
it looks like we've made some headway on their
To
questions.
cover for the S2
Yeah.
grant.
This
the
particular was
improvements.
not listed because it's not a problem, the air compressor.
Okay.
The next item will be, just to answer that question now. But I am going to be telling Mr. Ryan all the things that we are doing in our meeting in June. And this
Okay.
definitely will be one of them, because he did say we're not spending any money at the plant, which I don't think is accurate. This council spent some good money to keep that plant operational, I believe, in my
It's part
opinion.
of-
The
it's
pumps
part of the
alone.
maintenance.
The pumps alone, and there's some other stuff that we have spent money on, so I will surely make sure he's aware of it, but I don't think it was listed on his violation notice, not this agenda item.
Okay, good.
Great.
But this is one of those things that we've been working on for about a year with United Water, now F&B, and we're trying to get ideas and cost things to go forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other discussion? I believe roll call, is that right?
Stewart,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cronin,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes?
Baylor,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Audi.
Yep.
Motion carries. Next agenda item, repair valves in sewer treatment plant. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, again, this is Sewer Commissioner Stewart's agenda item.
This is another item in the basement. There's just a little bit of water. Scott, you were there today, you could see it. The valves are leaking. They've been leaking for some time. We were trying to make it a dry basement. And this is kind kind of like a maintenance type thing, but again, we're at the maintenance cap that they normally would push through. F&B, Chuck and Brian have never done this before, so they did ask to have somebody else do it.
I was gonna ask if, I think part of their maintenance, that they would be able to do this.
They've never done this. They actually thought that you had to take the whole unit off, but they had Kennedy come out, and Kennedy said they have a way of doing it without taking every valve off. So that's why they're like, well, we don't know anything about it, and for $768, I think it would be best to have professionals do it than have done it. They can do it in 8 hours. Chuck said that they tried taking something like this on, it could take them weeks because they don't know what they're doing.
Is their man gonna be there and kind of look at things? I mean, I'd like him
Yes.
to,
Get trained on it.
I
Absolutely.
mean, at least
I told-
have some kind of knowledge of, oh, that's how this works.
Yes,
and-
I did tell them that, and that way they can keep an eye, maybe they can do, there's
Oh.
other ones down there that are not leaking now, and then they can get an idea of what has to happen.
Okay, good, great.
And as the documentation shows, there's, these are called the Zurich valve, the Zurich packing, and Kennedy Industries is the distributor for it, so it was hard to get anybody to quote. I did get a thing from Blair, who's the old Gary replacement, if you will, hierarchy, and it came from pump and valve, jet pump and valve, and they were $7,140. So there's a huge difference. That just came today. I didn't see it before. They're removing everything. Kennedy thinks they can do it without removing everything. So I'm going to go with the Kennedy at this point. If they comes back and it says they have to remove everything,
Well,
then we're
I
gonna
mean,
have a
can we put a not to exceed price on this, so we kind of a flag that if they run into problems, I mean, then we gotta refigure what we're gonna do, right?
Well, we've
That
got,
they can't just
Sure.
tack on, well, now it's X amount of dollars because we
Right.
ran into a problem.
Sure. I will definitely make sure that Chuck does communicate that to Kennedy, that this is the price and that we're not to exceed it. That's not a problem to put that in motion.
So you could change it like right after industries, say not to exceed, and then cross out the in.
Okay. A motion to approve the quote from Kennedy Industries,
Not to exceed.
not to exceed the amount of $1,698, which includes the purchase of valves for $930 and the installation at $768.
Motion by Mr. Sturt, is there a second?
support,
Support by Mr. Ballard. Any other discussion? Mike, again, real quick, they had the bill too as F&V operations, we'll change
Correct.
that.
Right.
Okay,
Like I said, normally this would go through under our maintenance,
right.
so that might have been why Brian's been working on this for some time. But then that should stop a lot of the leaking of the water in the basement.
Any other discussion?
Again, Dennis will be made aware, and this was on the DEP report. Sorry.
That's okay.
Stewart,
Yes.
Ballard,
yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Body,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Wolock, Cooper.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Last agenda item is part-time clerical rate increase. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none. Mr. Clark, you wanted to pull this agenda item?
Yeah, I just didn't want to go with part of the consent because I've been adamant about, I don't want to see any increases, and I'm going to vote no on this. Bring it to a vote of the board.
Any other discussion?
Did we, does negotiation committee meet with the part-timers, and I guess that's my question, because we've got another part-time clerical worker in police, we have the other part-time clerical worker up front, we have a part-time DPW, and then the police department.
My knowledge, you guys have never met with part-time people.
We're on the negotiation committee.
No.
I know.
The chief's always had the part-time police officers,
And made his recommendations.
and usually the office staff or the
Joe
treasurer
Michelle.
and the clerk have handled the part-time there. Does the DPW have a part-time worker now?
Dave,
Yes, right now he's still busy.
Is he working right now, though?
Very,
Not
yeah,
today,
yeah,
but
not real
as
often,
needed.
but yeah, as needed.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying he hasn't been working that much
No.
as of late.
No. And I did check with Jeff when we changed this to position from full-time to part-time, if it would be under the, would they negotiate a contract? And he said, no, they would fall under the same thing as the part-time people, they would fall under the department head. So you are correct with that.
What is this, I guess,
This is the, asking for the 3% increase that was
what
put
would
into
that
the
take
budget,
from what to what?
from $13 to $13.39.
You know, in all fairness, in the budget, because there's so many line items that we put, well, we figure, you know, inflation's gonna go up. I don't recall, and it very well could have been said, that this includes a wage increase for
I think it's written
somebody
right on,
from
I
such
think it's
a.
written right on your budget.
It may have been, I just don't
Yeah.
recall us
I'm pretty sure I put
discussing
it right
it
on.
at the time.
If you remember, I kept trying to go line item by line item. You guys kind of wanted to group things,
I
so.
thought we were-
It did,
But we
it
did
did,
discuss
it did
that.
come up
But
because I
what
know.
is,
I
what
know we
is it
talked about
anyhow?
it.
From
39
what
cents.
hourly rate to
From
what?
$13 to $13.39. And she is an excellent employee. She's been here 2, going on 3 years. She has college degrees. She's worth much more than what we're paying her. I would hate to even have her consider going somewhere else because she can get a better wage. I mean, we just gave another employee $1 an hour increase because you thought he was at too low of a wage. So,
Well,
I don't like going down that aisle, let's just talk
Well-
about this one. But this is a CPI for 3. And that's on the title of the clerk.
But
I'm just looking at the budget. That would
Mike
tell me
showing
that
where
the
it is
clerk
in the
is
budget.
getting a 3.5% increase. Why am I reading that?
Clerical?
Clerical includes.
Is she clerical or is she salary?
Clerical.
she's salary.
But anyhow, you're going from 13 to 13.39. What's that amount a year?
400, about $400.
Well, I know this. I know we're shorthanded. Becky was,
She picks up the slack on anything.
she
you
picked
need
up a
her
lot of
for.
slack here. She's been a really good employee. She's not getting any fantastic wages.
Right.
No benefits,
No
I
benefits.
presume?
No benefits.
I don't have a problem with it personally.
any other discussion? Okay, well,
Maybe you need the motion.
oh,
Madam President,
Sorry.
I'll resolve to approve the 3% rate increase for Becky Henderson.
motion by Mr. Ballard, is there a second?
I'll support.
Support by Mr. Sturr, any other discussion? Okay, sorry now, Michelle.
Okay. Ballard,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Clark,
No.
Bullock,
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Upcoming agenda items. We have the F&B administrative report, under administrative reports. Any other upcoming agenda items?
We'd be,
The flood lighting? Oh no, we already did that.
we'd be downtown sidewalks, start meeting with that concrete lift company. And we've got a pothole repair, and we'll come back.
Do you want 2 separate agenda items?
And just put it under administrative reports.
Which,
I'm not gonna need any motions.
on either one, so we don't,
No, you know.
okay, so you can just do it as a liaison
Sure,
report then, so
why
we don't
not?
need to get it on there?
Can I ask
Yes.
trustee Ballard a real quick question?
No.
What about crack sealing? I don't think we did it last year. Are you planning on doing that this year?
We discussed that today at our round
Okay.
table here, and we talked with Joe so much, I put it in.
Okay, sorry.
It's
That was
okay.
with the potholes. I didn't know if.
Potholes, cracks, so they can,
Okay.
you know.
Any other upcoming agenda items?
Why-
Madam President, we should probably put in the CDBG land acquisition should be coming up soon. We got to make the township.
Yep.
So are you, yeah, because if you're gonna, it would be nice.
We'll be able to meet with them in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, 5 days was tough.
Yes.
To your knowledge, have they done anything?
We have not,
We have not.
I've been busy with the special event policy and
But
trying
they
to work it out.
have they?
They haven't contacted us. Well, I did talk to Mary because I was talking to her about something else, and she told me to call her when Mike and I have time and are available to set up a meeting. So she knew we were only working with 5 days.
Who would you be meeting with?
Mary Swayacki and Wayne Lobeck from the township. Okay. Any other upcoming agenda items?
We will be setting, I've got the appropriations report today from the county, so we'll be setting the tax millage first meeting, second meeting, whichever, but in June. Starting the tax roll.
Okay. Any other upcoming agenda items? Hearing none, any citizen comments? Hearing none, any council comments?
I had one. The more I thought about the opening of the bids, I was gonna be there, I believe trustee Audi, and you were gonna be there, Madam President. But Lyle's probably gonna wanna be there, right? Sure. So that means one of us probably needs to drop off. I don't care. I just,
Yeah, I don't,
okay.
Doesn't matter to
Opening the bids, that's
me.
a full.
Parks and Rec, that,
No, we were doing it during the day without a quorum.
We were just gonna do it as a committee.
Okay,
Because of this early meeting.
yeah, okay.
But, I mean, I just wanna make sure that all four of us don't show up and all of a sudden we have a quorum. That's something I
Right.
thought about. You sure you're fine? I don't care if I drop off.
Okay, our special meeting that we have for the bid openings.
That didn't work well, did it?
It didn't work tonight.
The special meeting that we have set for the bid openings or awarding.
Awarding.
We may want to add on to that CDBG because you're gonna have to decide at that point if you're gonna reject those bids or if you're gonna go forward with them or if we can amend them. So I will have an update for you at that meeting. So the special meeting will now have 2 agenda items on it, which will be CDBG update and, if needed, and bid awarding. Is everybody okay with
When is
that?
that meeting?
We haven't said it.
Yeah, it is
Yeah, we did.
set at the last meeting.
I believe it's the
I don't know,
31st.
the 31st or the, what
It
do
was like
you?
a Thursday, wasn't it?
That's what I was thinking, it's the third.
Yeah, I think it's the 31st.
Yes, it is the
Yeah.
31st.
At 7 p.m.
Open them.
7 o'clock.
Award them the
Yeah.
When was the award?
31st.
No, the meeting with the opening of the bids. When was that?
29th.
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 At what time did we say?
29th.
Yeah,
At
29th.
noon.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got noon, I put down 4 o'clock.
I know we talked about noon because that's
Noon?
when Harry could come for his lunch
Right,
hour and I'm
lunch
here
hour.
already and Mike was open, so,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
All right, any other council comments? Hearing none, any community events to announce? We don't have a closed session tonight, the time is now 8:25. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Wallach, second by Mr. Cronin. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.